Hello, listeners. This is Alex, your host for the Stories Philippines podcast today. We dive into a heartfelt yet chilling story that reminds us of the complex emotions and lives our animal companions lead. Please bear in mind that the names and places in this story have been changed to protect the privacy of the individuals involved. So sit back, relax, or maybe not too relaxed, and immerse yourself in this extended narrative titled The Tragic Tale of Brownie. Cherry never really enjoyed taking care of pets, but she had no choice when her father left behind his beloved dog, Brownie. Cherry loved her father dearly since he was the only parent she had ever known. Her mother had died long ago, a woman Cherry never got to meet. Now an orphan, Cherry lived alone in a large house in the quiet town of Lipa, Batangas. The empty rooms echoed with loneliness, especially when the night fell. Despite not being fond of pets, Cherry kept Brownie because it was her father's last wish. She couldn't bear to part with the dog, seeing him as the last remaining link to her father. Cherry worked as a midwife known for her low professional fees, which made her popular in the neighborhood. She was always exhausted, and with little time to clean her house, she decided to hire help. The decision served a double purpose: someone to keep the house clean and someone to care for Brownie. "Ma'am, Brownie hasn't eaten all day in day," the new helper greeted Cherry one evening. "Maybe you didn't add enough salt to his food," Cherry replied irritably, trying to mask her exhaustion. "But I did, ma'am. I even added some fish to the cold rice, but he refused to eat," Inde explained earnestly. "Make fresh food for Brownie, and I'll feed him myself," Cherry ordered, her frustration evident. Brownie wagged his tail excitedly upon seeing Cherry. He acted like a child, eager to see his mother, licking her feet and making little noises, as if trying to communicate. "Eat up, Brownie. I don't have the energy for your antics tonight," Cherry sighed, placing the bowl of food in front of him. Brownie devoured the meal hungrily, and Cherry realized he was just unfamiliar with Inde. The next day, Cherry had to leave for another delivery, leaving Inde to care for Brownie. When she returned, Inde had the same complaint: Brownie hadn't eaten. Forced to feed the dog herself despite her weariness, Cherry began to worry. Brownie might lose weight and possibly get sick if he continued to refuse food, something her late father would never forgive her for letting happen. In her desperation, Cherry thought of a solution. If she could give Brownie meat, perhaps he would stay full throughout the day. The next time she delivered a baby, she brought home the placenta and umbilical cord. That night, she fed Brownie his unusual dinner. "Ma'am, isn't it bad to feed those to the dog? Shouldn't they be buried instead?" Inde asked, concerned. "It's better for Brownie to eat them than to bury them," Cherry replied dismissively. Inde shrugged and let the matter drop. Cherry found a routine, feeding Brownie the afterbirths from her work, saving money while keeping the dog quiet and content. Inde no longer had complaints, and for a while, everything seemed fine. However, Cherry's situation soon worsened. Her clientele dwindled, possibly due to better family planning among the local couples. Without her regular deliveries, she had no placentas to feed Brownie, and the dog began rejecting regular food. Annoyed, Cherry snapped one day when Brownie refused the fish and rice she had prepared. In a fit of rage, she beat the dog, who could only whimper in submission. "Ma'am, stop. You'll kill him," Inde pleaded. Feeling a pang of guilt, Cherry stopped. The next day, Brownie still wouldn't eat, forcing Cherry to buy fresh pig organs from the market. Brownie accepted these, and soon, his diet consisted solely of expensive meats, straining Cherry's already tight budget. "Brownie's eating more than the two of us combined," Cherry lamented to Inde. "We can't let him go hungry, ma'am. He goes wild without meat," Inde worried. "We also need a stronger chain. He's getting too strong." Cherry groaned at the thought of more expenses. With money running low, she had an idea. "Maybe I should sell Brownie," she said, eyes gleaming at the prospect. "I'll save money and make some too." Inde looked uncertain but didn't argue. That very day, Cherry found a buyer offering a handsome price for Brownie. Yet as the exchange was about to take place, Brownie, sensing the stranger's unsettling intent, barked ferociously. Unable to go through with it, Cherry sent the man away despite his persistence. As the man grabbed her arm, Brownie broke free from his chain, attacking the intruder. The scene turned ghastly as Brownie bit into the man's neck, ending his life swiftly. The scent of blood seemed to drive the dog into a frenzy. Cherry screamed in shock, and Indy rushed to call for help. Brownie, covered in blood, now seemed a creature of nightmares as he began consuming the flesh of his victim. When Indy returned with neighbors, they found Brownie in a gruesome state, unrecognizable as the pet they knew. Cherry, horrified, tried to stop Brownie, but the dog growled at her, his eyes wild. A group of brave men armed with sticks approached, but Brownie lunged at them, injuring several before they could even react. Panicked, the men retreated. The police arrived, called by another neighbor. They took control, but the night was far from over. Despite having police presence, Cherry felt no safer. She urged the officers to come inside the house, but they insisted on remaining outside, confident with their weapons. The night came, and Brownie returned, greeted by the officers' guns. But none of their shots hit. Brownie advanced, attacking viciously. Desperate and afraid, Cherry grabbed one of the fallen officer's guns. Tears streamed down her face as she aimed at Brownie, the dog she once cared for, now a monster. She had to stop him for everyone's safety. Her hands shook as Brownie charged, and she squeezed the trigger. The bullet struck, and Brownie collapsed, his violent reign finally over. Cherry wept, the weight of her actions and the loss of Brownie crashing down on her. Let's pause here for a moment and reflect on what's happening in this story. We can sense a deep connection between Cherry and Brownie, a bond complicated by dire circumstances and questionable decisions. It's easy to judge Cherry for her actions, but consider the immense pressure and isolation she faces. How might things have been different if she had more support or different choices? We also see the consequences of Brownie's increasing aggression, something that could have been preventable. This tragedy serves as a somber reminder that the trust and care we provide our pets significantly shape their behavior and well-being. Now, let's delve deeper into what happened after that tragic night. Days turned into weeks, and the horror of that night lingered like a dark cloud over Cherry's once peaceful home. News of the incident spread quickly throughout Lipa, Batangas, and people began to avoid her house. The once popular midwife found herself ostracized by the community that had relied on her for years. Cherry couldn't escape the haunting memories of Brownie's last moments. His eyes, once filled with loyalty and love, had turned wild and unrecognizable. She replayed the events repeatedly, questioning where she went wrong. Could she have done something differently to prevent the gruesome outcome? The authorities conducted a thorough investigation, and Cherry cooperated fully. They concluded that Brownie's aggressive behavior was a result of his unusual diet and the mistreatment he had suffered. The community's anger shifted from Cherry to a broader discussion about responsible pet ownership and the ethical treatment of animals. Despite the official findings, Cherry couldn't shake her guilt. She knew deep down that her decisions had led to Brownie's downfall. She had treated him as a burden rather than a companion, ignoring the signs of his distress and desperation. The love and care her father had shown Brownie were starkly absent in her actions. Inday, too, was deeply affected by the events. She had witnessed the transformation of a gentle dog into a monster, and it had left her traumatized. Yet, she couldn't bring herself to leave Cherry. They had both been through too much together, and in a way they needed each other to heal. One evening, as they sat in the dimly lit living room, Inday finally broke the silence. "Ma'am, we can't change what happened, but we can learn from it. Maybe it's time to do something positive, something that honors Brownie's memory." Cherry looked at Inday, her eyes filled with remorse and gratitude. "You're right, Inday. We need to make amends even if we can't undo the past." Together, they decided to dedicate their efforts to animal welfare in their community. They reached out to local animal shelters, veterinarians, and pet owners, sharing their story as a cautionary tale. They organized workshops on responsible pet care, proper nutrition, and the importance of empathy towards animals. Their efforts didn't go unnoticed. Slowly, the community began to see Cherry in a new light. She wasn't just the midwife who had made mistakes, she was a woman who had learned from her past and was determined to make a difference. The workshops gained popularity and more people started attending, eager to learn and improve the lives of their pets. One day, a young girl named Ailing approached Cherry after a workshop. Ailing had a small dog named Pewtai, who had been displaying signs of aggression. Fearful of a repeat of Brownie's fate, Ailing sought Cherry's advice. Cherry listened intently, offering guidance and support. She emphasized the importance of understanding the root causes of aggression, such as fear or pain, and addressing them with patience and love. Ailing followed Cherry's advice, and over time, Pewtai's behavior improved significantly. Word of Cherry's expertise and compassion spread, and soon, pet owners from neighboring towns sought her help. Despite the lingering pain and guilt, Cherry found solace in knowing that she was making a positive impact. Brownie's tragic story had sparked a movement, one that aimed to prevent similar incidents and foster a deeper bond between humans and animals. Now, let's take a step back and consider the broader implications of this story. Cherry's journey is a powerful reminder that change is possible, even in the face of immense regret and loss. It's a story of redemption, one that teaches us about the transformative power of empathy and understanding. Listeners, I invite you to reflect on your own experiences with pets. Have you ever faced challenges or made mistakes in caring for them? How did you address those situations and what did you learn from them? As we ponder these questions, let's remember that our actions have consequences, and it's never too late to make amends. Cherry's story serves as a beacon of hope, showing us that even in the darkest times, we have the power to create positive change. Cherry and Inday's efforts continued to grow, and they soon established a small animal welfare organization named Brownie's Hope. The organization focused on educating the community about responsible pet ownership, providing resources for proper animal care, and rescuing and rehabilitating abused or neglected animals. Through their work, they encountered many heartbreaking stories of animals in distress. Each rescue was a reminder of Brownie's tragic fate, but it also fueled their determination to make a difference. They worked tirelessly, often sacrificing their own comfort to ensure the well-being of the animals in their care. One day, they received a call about a stray dog in a nearby barangay. The dog, named Bante by the locals, had been living on the streets for months. He was emaciated, covered in wounds, and terrified of humans. Cherry and Inday knew they had to help him. When they arrived, Bante was hiding under a rickety wooden bridge, his eyes wide with fear. Cherry approached him slowly, speaking in a soft, soothing voice. It took hours of patience and gentle coaxing, but eventually Bante allowed Cherry to approach him. They brought Bante back to their shelter, providing him with food, medical care, and a safe place to recover. At first, Bante was wary and distant, but with time and consistent care, he began to trust Cherry and Inday. His transformation was nothing short of miraculous. The once terrified dog became a symbol of hope and resilience for everyone involved with Brownie's Hope. As Bante's health improved, Cherry and Inday decided to share his story with their followers. They posted updates on social media, detailing his journey from the streets to rehabilitation. The response was overwhelming, with messages of support and donations pouring in from people inspired by Bante's recovery. Bante's story resonated deeply with Cherry, reminding her of Brownie and the promise she had made to honor his memory. She realized that through Brownie's Hope, she was not only helping animals but also healing her own heart. One evening, as Cherry sat in the shelter's office, she received a letter from a young boy named Toto. Toto wrote about his dog, Simba, who had recently been diagnosed with a serious illness. The veterinary bills were overwhelming for Toto's family, and he was desperate for help. Cherry felt a pang of empathy for Toto. She knew all too well the pain of seeing a beloved pet suffer. She reached out to Toto's family, offering financial assistance and connecting them with a compassionate veterinarian willing to provide discounted services. Simba's condition gradually improved, and Toto's family was immensely grateful. In return, they volunteered at Brownie's Hope, helping with daily tasks and caring for the animals. Toto's family became an integral part of the organization, their bond with Cherry and Inde growing stronger with each passing day. Through their work at Brownie's Hope, Cherry and Inde met countless individuals who shared their love for animals. They formed a tight-knit community of like-minded people, all dedicated to making the world a better place for animals. They celebrated every success, no matter how small, and supported each other through the challenges. Cherry often found herself reflecting on how far she had come since that fateful night with Brownie. The guilt and remorse still lingered, but they were now tempered by a sense of purpose and fulfillment. She had turned her pain into a force for good, creating a legacy that honored Brownie's memory and helped countless animals in need. As the years passed, Brownie's Hope continued to thrive, and its impact extended far beyond Lipa, Batangas. They established partnerships with other animal welfare organizations, participated in national campaigns, and even influenced policy changes to protect animal rights. Listeners, Cherry's journey is a testament to the power of resilience, compassion, and redemption. It's a reminder that even in our darkest moments, we have the capacity to create positive change. Her story encourages us to reflect on our own actions, to learn from our mistakes, and to strive for a better future. Before we conclude, let's take a moment to consider some insights from Cherry's story. Firstly, it's crucial to recognize the deep emotional and psychological impact that our actions can have on animals. Neglect and mistreatment can lead to severe behavioral issues, as seen with Brownie. Responsible pet ownership involves understanding and meeting the needs of our pets, including proper nutrition, regular medical care, and emotional support. Secondly, Cherry's transformation from a struggling pet owner to an advocate for animal welfare highlights the importance of personal growth and learning. We are all capable of change, and it's never too late to make amends and improve our relationships with animals. Now, I'd like to ask you, our listeners, to reflect on your own experiences with pets. Have you ever faced challenges in caring for an animal? How did you overcome those challenges, and what did you learn from them? Feel free to share your stories with us, as they can provide valuable insights and inspiration for others. As we wrap up this episode, I want to encourage you to take action in your own communities. Whether it's volunteering at an animal shelter, supporting animal welfare organizations, or simply being a more mindful and compassionate pet owner, every effort counts. Together, we can create a world where animals are treated with the love and respect they deserve. Thank you for joining me on this emotional journey through the tragic tale of Brownie. If you have any stories or experiences you'd like to share, please submit them to our podcast. Your voice matters, and together we can make a difference. Until next time, this is Alex signing off from the Stories Philippines podcast. Take care, and remember to cherish the bonds with your furry friends.